very good morning to you, and thank you for tuning in to FlowFM 92.7, your go with the Flow radio station. It's 8 o'clock, Wednesday, the 5th of November, 2025. Welcome to the Headline News Analysis. It's a platform created to discuss, debate, and talk about some of the big headlines we analyze from the studio, and we give you a chance to join in the conversation as well. To do that, please give us a call on 0807 777-9927, 0807 777-9927. You can also leave us your comment via WhatsApp. The number still is 0807 777-9927. A lot of interesting stories to touch on this morning. My name is Adeyemi.
And I'm Danielle. Shitta-Bey. Thank you for joining us on the Headline News Analysis this morning. Good morning to you, Nicholas.
Good morning.
How are you doing today?
I'm fine.
And how's your trip down here?
Well, it's cool. It was cool.
All right, that's great. The views to be expressed is not in any way the position of FlowFM 92.7 of the staff therein, but is expressed by in-house analyst Nicholas Uwerunonye and individuals who would call on the show this morning. Also, we're streaming live on YouTube and on Facebook at FlowFM 927. So join in the live action happening in the studio as well. We have lots of interesting stories, so let's pick up this one. Well, the Nigerian Senate has established an ad hoc committee to investigate frequent derailments on the country's rail lines and examine the loans, contracts, and execution of railway projects that was under former late President Muhammadu Buhari. Now, the committee will be chaired by Adams Oshiomhole, the senator representing Edo North, and is also expected to submit its report within 4 weeks. Apparently, there's been technical failures on the Shitta-Bey Warri rail corridor. And that's what prompted this.
Well, I think it's the right call. And, at that time when, the choice of the companies, coming mostly from China, was made, some of us raised concerns. My thinking was that we should have gone to countries where you have an established, rail system. If we think that the UK, the US, the Canada are way too expensive, we could consider countries like India, for instance. India has a very strong, rail system. But with that of China, we know, but China does not, in terms of industrial practice, there are so many sharp corners that they take that it is usually inimical, to developing countries, development aspiration. Given our tendency in Nigeria to want to cut corners, I think we should have gone for partners who are there to insist on standards, who will insist on standards and, more transparency. So, when all those derailments started happening, in fact, there was even a case of, the quality of iron that was used in some of this, building the railways, and it raised a lot of concern. So I think it's a worthwhile exercise. Coming at this time, I think we should really probe into what's happening, especially given the fact that Lokoja Shitta-Bey to all the way to Abo, have been suspended for. So when did it come on stream that we're already suspending it? This is not what you should, get from a world-class, a rail building system. I think it calls for a lot of, probe, and I sincerely hope that the probe will be very transparent, devoid of political rancors, devoid of partisanship. Let's get at the root of the matter so we can fix what the problem is.
All right. Aside, what you mentioned, what is maintenance culture as to the rail in the country? If you look at, we've had series of rail derailments in the past 5 years. We had that Abuja. We had one of Abuja. We had the robbery that happened in Abuja. We had it in Kaduna as well too. And just recently, the Warri Shitta-Bey rail. But what's our maintenance culture as to some of these rail systems?
You're quite right. The Nigerian government has a poor maintenance culture. There's no sugarcoating the fact. But vis-a-vis that too, we have amazing record of proper maintenance, especially when the PPP are brought in to do the job. a very good example is the telephony, and that is the GSM infrastructure, for instance. It's basically almost entirely in the hands of,
the private sector.
And you don't hear of breakdown, maybe of glitches here and there, but you don't hear of complete breakdown like you have in the railway sector, you have in the power transmission sector. In terms of let us even look at power generation. The problem that has been with power generation is that there is so much power generated, but evacuation is a problem. Evacuation transmitting. That is where the problem is, exactly where you have government doing the thing. So we have this culture where the moment you are employed by government's job is nobody's job. That is always the sentiment. And that is brought to bear on maintaining infrastructure. So, you see, that was one of the big problems we have in our rail system. I think that rather than allowing government to be the sole, how am I going to put it, the sole provider, of that, I think we should have gone the way of the aviation sector. We talk of regular upgrades of the airports, you understand, while private sectors bring in their plane. Now, the aviation sector is growing in leaps and bounds. Why? Because the principal drivers are private sector people. So I expected that the rail system should be parceled out to private sector, bring them in. Let private companies, rail companies, come and build the rail. They call it BOT, be operate and transfer, the rail system. Until after making their gains, they transfer it, but of course they have the right of refusal. You understand? This was the kind of thing I expected. I didn't expect that the government would, go all out to go and get loans, and those loans come with condition. All those loans that we got from China and the rest of them, hinges on the fact, hinges on the proviso that Chinese company will build the railway. So that is the fallout is what we are going through right now. I think at this level of development, infrastructural development, I think we should be consistent with our traditional base. When you look at those institutions from the West, from the Western world that we built over the years, they are enduring, far more enduring than when you have it from this new Asian friends who do not do things according to global standards, that we are used to. You understand? You see, the Western world has a better understanding of African terrain. So this might appear a little bit. It's like looking back to Egypt. Like this saying that looking back to Egypt. But you see, when we have a benefit of history. Our incursions, our bringing in Chinese options into building infrastructure, in as much as that come cheaper, but it comes with a lot of consequences. And one of the consequences is what you are seeing. It's not serving very well,
Okay, so what do you think will be the aftermath of this probe, this ad hoc committee that has been set up? With all of this?
That is where my fear lies, because this isn't the first time we've had this kind of probe. You understand? We've been having a series of probes, and after the initial gra-gra, as we say here in Nigeria, you don't hear anything anymore. So I sincerely hope this is not just another, how am I going to put it? It's just another window dressing, kind of, just to show that some people that sit in the chamber are doing their job. Whereas it's just a way of just saying, it's just all smokes and mirror, nothing, all sounds and fury signifying nothing.
Okay, let's hope that as well. 0807-777-9927 is the number to call or to send a message to be a part of the conversation. Let's move on to another news story real quick. We're talking about the conversation of the United States coming into Nigeria and you mentioned Tuga recently. Well, the foreign minister Yusuf Tuga made a statement during his meeting with the German counterpart Johann Wanderpohl in Berlin, emphasizing that Nigeria's constitution guarantees freedom of religion and upholds the rule of law. He also stressed that the Nigerian government is committed to protecting the rights of all citizens, regardless of faith or ethnicity, and continues to work with international partners to promote peace, tolerance, and national unity, while also he highlighted Nigeria's role as a key African Union member in preventing conflicts and fostering continental stability. What do you think about this?
I didn't know he was going to come up with this when I said what I said yesterday. That you see, there are certain people that are trained diplomats. When you have a volatile situations like this, you don't bring people like this other man that mounts off, anyhow. You don't bring them to, exacerbate the situation. And again, let us be very clear about certain things. Sometimes, a very good, you see, in terms of mounting of Trump and Boala are the same thing. You understand? You can put the two of them at the same. They say things without even knowing the consequence of what they are saying. With due respect to their president, but that is the fact of the matter. You understand? But within all those muck that they throw around, especially from the side of Trump, you see that he actually means well in some of the interventions that he's making. But the way he places it is, Now, if you look at the agitation within Nigeria from both sides of the argument, there is one thing that is clear. There are killings. You understand? There are killings. And that is what Tuga is speaking to. That, yes, that he's speaking to the fact that we have a law that protects your right to religion. Those are the kind of arguments that you prefer. But how well that law, has protected people is something else entirely that is up for debate. All
right, let's take a call. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning to you. What is your name and where are you calling from, please?
Hello?
Hello,
yes,
good morning.
Hello, good morning. Your name?
My name is Benjamin. I'm calling from Ilorin.
Okay, good morning.
Please go ahead, Benjamin.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead with your comment.
Oh.
Okay. All right. Please, we can direct messages and comments to WhatsApp as well, just in case the phone lines aren't going through. Let's go ahead.
Then apart from that, I was listening to Ndume yesterday on one of the television. He was brought in as, to speak, on an interview, with one, Senator Ndume. And there were certain things he said, that is quite worrisome. A situation where we don't have ambassadors. Right now as we speak, as strategic as the United States is, we don't have an ambassador there. Why they have an embassy? They have an ambassador here. We don't have a permanent representative in the UN. This is 2 years into Bola Ahmed Tinubu's tenure. You don't have, especially at this time when things are volatile. You don't have somebody that speaks for the country. So that is one other thing. You see, I think if somebody like Tuga, for instance, I don't know if it will amount to a demotion. Well, of course, it will amount to a demotion if you now, imagine somebody like Tuga had been there. Will it get to this stage? It won't. So that is what we're talking about.
Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning to you.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Benjamin.
Yes, go ahead with your comment, Benjamin, please.
First, I would like to, about the Donald Trump of the thing, the issue between President Donald Trump and President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. You see, first, let me start with the issue of the one, the other, I forgot the name, that one that said, what, they are not helping us. Now, let's go on into that. Okay, now, they're trying to say that, and Donald Trump has this. Fine, it's not for that Christmas. It's not Santa Claus that gives things for free. We will pay. Fine. Some people are saying that, okay, what about resources? Now, the resources that we have, we are not benefiting from it. The oil of the oil we are having now, it can still refineries. It's not working. Of recent, Dangote built his own. And that is why we have the refinery here in Nigeria. Okay, now, this is something we are talking about now. We are not benefiting from it. Now, okay, we that we are paying for electricity now, we are not getting electricity. I pay electricity every month. But once in a week, that's what I used to get life. I pay for shop, I pay for home. But once in a week, I get my life. Now we're saying of the resources. Now, the resources we are having, what are we benefiting from it? We're not benefiting anything from it. Okay, the money, okay, now, FIRS, they brought that in from 2025, the money they make from revenue, 42.39 trillion naira. 42.39 trillion naira make from revenue 2024, 2025 revenue. Now, those money, what are they using it for? Now, the doctors have gone on strike. I think the president has said to strike with them. They went on strike based on, they are not paying them their salary enough. What are those money using it for? Okay, now they're saying the resources, they are not benefiting from the resources. They are not benefiting at all. Now, those money, those public funds, those revenue they are making every year, what are they using it for? Okay, now, my kid's brother was, I think 2 months ago. We went to the hospital, everyone was sick. The doctors that are helping us trying to save our own lives because they don't use Nigeria. Yeah, they don't use Nigeria hospitals. If there's just a little bit sick, they will fly up.
All right, we have 1 minute. Please note that you have the space of 60 seconds, 1 minute to make your comment, so that we can allow more, participation on the program. That's 1 minute. Please quickly put your thoughts together. Thank you, Benjamin, for your comment. Well, he's complaining about the resources that we have in Nigeria and how well we utilize these resources that we have.
Yeah, I think I get what his concern is. That people are saying that United States of America is coming just because of our resources. His opinion is that even as it is right now, what use is that resources being put to in helping out Nigerians, as it were. That is the simple truth about, what do you call them? All these superpowers. Nothing comes for free. They will come in because you have something that they want. It might be mineral. It might be that they want strategic partnership. Don't forget that for me, I don't think it's real minerals, really. I think that what they want is a foothold in West Africa, because when you have a strong relationship with Nigeria, you control West Africa and Africa by extension. Nigeria with enormous influence in Africa. So having that kind of a country, as a strategic partner is something very big, a huge boost. And Nigeria fits in properly into United States, foreign policy towards Africa. So that is why you are going to have, this kind of interest. And there is one other strong point that we need to, consider. If you notice, recently China came in too and said that they won't, they are, supporting Nigeria and things like that. Now, this is China that is always saying that they don't want to interfere in people's affairs. Now, that is an interference in a way. Then apart from that, people, when I saw China coming, and I said, no, this is a very wrong move on the part of China, because when you talk of illegal miners, China has the highest number of illegal miners in Nigeria. In all the years that the British, the United States of America, Canada, the Canadians, the Western Germany exploited our resources, you don't have a single case of one illegal oil driller or bunkerer from this part of the country. So sometimes, we should always use our tongue to count our teeth. Yes, they all want something, but you have to choose the better devil. That is what the situation is right now.
Devils, pick one.
Yeah.
All right, let's take this call. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning to you.
What is your name and where are you calling from?
Okay, this is Michael from Ilorin.
Michael, please go ahead with your comment.
Okay, on the Nigerian railway derailment, I think it's a good thing that the Senate is trying to probe into it. Since the former president, late Muhammadu Buhari, they rebranded the Nigerian railway system, it was a PPP arrangement. And even maintenance of the rail system are done by PPP, that's Chinese Civil Engineering Company, not Nigerian Railway. So Nigerian Railway only do administration and monitoring. So, but if you look at the critical 2 or 3 parts of the current rail working, you will hardly hear any derailment between Lagos and Ibadan. But that's not to say that there were no clear surveillance. I think what lacks, what the missing point in Kaduna to Abuja, Itakpe to Warri, is surveillance. And it's the same it's the same company. So I think they need to be monitored closely. The last derailment between Lagos, Abuja and Kaduna were due to sabotage. These videos were there now. People went and they broke some parts. And they went to sell it. And the same thing is happening in FCT. There are some particular iron people that they're always removing things at the center of road. So the derailment were not largely connected to inferior material. They were largely due to theft. So I think we need to improve on surveillance. You can't spend billions of millions of dollars on a project and lack no surveillance. It's as good as a wasteful project. So I think government should pay more attention to surveillance and we'll get it right. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so very much for your comment this morning.
Let's take a comment real quick from WhatsApp.
Okay, you want to take a comment?
From WhatsApp.
Yeah.
It's in accordance to what he just said. Good morning to the presenters and the analysts. 2 quick points. Chinese construction is very advanced and long-lasting, but Nigeria ordered 20-year-old trains from them and did not consider the Nigerian factor in construction. What's so special about the terrain of Nigeria? They got it right in other parts of Africa. Secondly, he called Tinubu the best politician in the history of Nigeria, but he doesn't have ambassadors in more more than 2 years. Isn't that an oxymoron?
Well, yeah, let me respond to the first caller, the last before this one. Now, you see, I said build, operate, and transfer. When you build, operate, and transfer, it means you are largely responsible for sourcing the funds. So you are going to operate it, and you are going to ask for enabling environment like the surveillance that he's asking for. Nigeria we don't have the kind of experience, to put proper surveillance in place for an infrastructure as critical as rail. So anybody that is coming to do that business will ask for those enabling environment. So it is not a PPP. We collected loans to build those railways. And the operation of it was handed to them. It's part of the contract handed to them. So when you say you are bringing in a private sector to run an infrastructure, I give the example of MTN. The MTN built their mask, all these GSM companies, they build their mask, service it, operate it, and make their gains from it. So then the case of the Gencos too, they build the turbines and the rest of them and generate power. You understand? They run it. They ask for the enabling environment. That is the kind of thing you need for a sector that is as critical as railway. Knowing full well, why did we decide to go on a GSM? Why did we open up and sell it cheap to them? It was because we knew that if we decide to do it, we are going to spend money and get nothing. So that was a wise move by Obasanjo, when he came on board. So there is no need we toss this here and there. It's very simple. Yes, if China have operated in other places, it's because those people made a very good bargain. And that is why it's operating fantastically well over there. But there are certain things that, that differentiate China from some of these Western countries, which is that they have a name to protect. Julius Berger, for instance, have you ever had Julius Berger build an infrastructure and there is comma involved in it? So why don't we learn from good things? Why is it so difficult for Nigerians to learn from good examples?
Let's take a call. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning to you.
To you. What's your name?
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. You're live. Good morning. We can have you here. Good morning.
Yeah, this is Jim from Fati.
All right, hey, Jim from Fati. Good morning to you.
Yeah, in fact, Dayo, let me use this as an opportunity, for God's sake, to appeal to my brothers, my Muslim brothers and sisters. Let us cooperate. Let us cooperate and see what we can do about this killings, terrorism, burning houses, driving away villages. Let us cooperate and see how we can end it. There was a time we were looking for help from outside because we can't do it alone. We've tried it for many years, over 15 years now. We can't do it alone. Let us seek. Okay, US has offered to help us. Let us really about whether you are a Christian or Muslim. They are killing everyone. They are killing Christians because of their faith. They are killing Muslims because you refuse to join them. These killings are Nigeria. Let us cooperate with them. Let us don't bring religious issue into it. This is our time. If we miss this opportunity, this thing will continue to linger for long. Thank you and God bless FlowFM.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jim from Fati. Well, we have Danielle. I'm not just the only one on the show. We have Danielle and Nicholas in the house as well. So, Nicholas, how do you react to his comments this morning, which is the popular call from so many? I think since we started this conversation on Monday.
So many Nigerians feel the same way.
Yeah, I would join Pi Jim to make this call. Just to say one or two things. Now, yes, if you look at where the cry for genocide is coming from, it's people who have been affected. So sometimes when somebody is mourning, you don't tell him how to mourn, because he is the one who knows where the shoe is pinching. But we from the other side, why we are not telling them to mourn, we can help put perspective to their pain and let the world know that yes, we are together. But you see, these people are not alone in their pain. Even our Muslim brothers sympathize with them. And for that sympathy, they have paid dearly too. You understand? But what cannot be removed, from the fact that the genesis of all this had to do with religious extremism. That is what we cannot, we cannot separate from it. And there is a reason why people push religious extremism, when they want to do things like that. It's because it's so easy to use it to divide people. So now that is the understanding that a lot of us needs to have. You understand? And let's be united in what we actually want. What we are unitedly saying is that we must exterminate these killings. It has to stop. If it means we require some foreign assistance, so be it. Let us end it. That's the simple truth. Because at the end of the day, when you don't know where it's going to stop, initially, when Boko Haram, if you recall, when that Boko Haram was there, Admiral Nyako, the former governor of Adamawa State, wrote an open memo to Goodluck Jonathan, accusing him of committing genocide. Because of the way the Nigerian army was fighting the battle at that time. It's there, it's open, but we tend to forget easily. You understand? Now, at that time, it was in Maiduguri. It was confined to Maiduguri. But now it has moved into Adamawa. It moved into Yobe. It came down, Taraba, Benue, Jos. Now it's in Kwara. You understand? Simply because, the kind of rhetoric, rather than solidifying, unifying, it was divided. So there was no common will to crush it when it started. So that is the tragedy of the whole situation. And it appears as if that same thing is repeating itself. You understand? Rather than looking at the improper way that Trump put this, let us take the message from it that he said he's going to wipe out those terrorists. Okay, yes, we are all for it if you are going to. But you see, we know where they are. We want to work in collaboration. So if it means the area, the fringes where is outside Nigeria, that you can take care of that. But here in Nigeria, this is what we are willing to offer. They cannot say it openly. They know how they meet themselves and talk. And as a matter of fact, I learned reliably that the federal government has opened a channel with the White House. That they have started talking. I was informed. So these are some of the things that I want to see put on the table. Away from all this incendiary rhetoric that we are. That is being bandied all up and down.
All right, let's take some comments from Facebook and then we'll round off on the analysis this morning. Dr. Mrs. Umar Libar from Uri. Every new day comes with heartbreaking and not heart-mending news. We're now living in a country where terrorists have set our teeth on edge and live at the mercy of armed robbers, herdsmen, assassins, and kidnappers. Where our leaders are so soaked in opulence that they no longer remember the spelling of suffering. We're surrounded by all wealth, but swimming in frustration and abject poverty, where workers spend more time protesting for better pay and improved condition of service than they spend on their duty post. Why is this government taking delight in seeing the masses suffer? Why asking bleeding Nigerians to donate blood? Thank God they don't even have the power to tax the free air God has freely given us. Let them continue, we shall overcome. Let me remind them that God is still on the throne watching. His meals grind slowly but surely. We must all reap what we sow. Let's have your closing statements. We can't take any more calls or messages, but let's have your closing thoughts and then.
What my call is very simple. That we are first and foremost humans before we are Igbo, Yoruba, or Muslim or Christian. So let's always remember that the pain to one is a pain to the other person. So we must share in our collective, our destiny. Yeah.
Yeah, we're humans first. Absolutely. Thank you so much for that, Mr. Nicholas. The views expressed is not in any way the position of FlowFM 92.7 of the staff therein, but as expressed by our in-house analyst, Mr. Nicholas, and any individuals that called on the show this morning. I'm Danielle Shitta-Bey.
And I am Adedayo Adeyemi. Thank you for joining us. We're back tomorrow morning.